Hi, everyone. Welcome to the CASEpeer Conversations webinar, where I sit down with leaders in law, personal injury, legal tech, or business. I'm Gabriela Cubeiro, the CEO and co-founder of CASEpeer. And today I have with me one of the most authentic and positive people I have had the pleasure of getting to know in the legal tech community. Helen Bukulmez is an American immigration and Kentucky personal injury lawyer, and she is a true advocate for her clients and for the American dream. Helen's also a professor, speaker, entrepreneur, and a passionate wellness advocate, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome, Helen.
Hi, Gabriela.
It is such a pleasure to be with you here today. We've been talking about sitting down and having a conversation about wellness and how it intersects with technology and success in law. And I'm glad that we're finally doing it here today.
Absolutely. So good to see you. As I always say, whoever surrounds us makes up our life. So I'm happy to be spending some time with you today.
Yeah, so today, I have some questions for Helen. We like these to be really organic conversations as well. So forgive us, everyone, if we veer off. If you have any questions, throw them here into the question box. We welcome the interaction. But our focus today is really on wellness and life balance and really how that translates to success. And I'm really excited for Helen to share her insights. And this was a quote when we talked yesterday about preparing for this. This was a quote that came up, and I thought it set the perfect tone. Helen, do you want to read it off and kind of share why that resonated with you?
Absolutely. So at this point in my life, I am always looking for good quotes that capture the experience that I've had as an attorney, as a woman, as a mom, and as someone who truly enjoys life most of the time. And when I saw this quote, I thought it just captured everything. Basically, if we don't have freedom, and most of us who chase the American dream basically want that freedom as a woman to live in a society where we're welcome with our differences, and we're welcome with the fact that we're moms and we're women who contribute to the society so much. And the goal is joy, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think the purpose of life is joy. And anytime we're dealing with even the challenges, we can find the joy in that process. And finally, I think the last part is perfect because this combination, this thing we call life, at the end of it, whether we do it right, we do it wrong, the result is growth. The result is experience. So I think every time I read this, it gives me the reassurance that no matter what happens, it's an experience. My job is to find joy, and I'm so grateful for the freedom that I have.
Yeah, one thing that when I was putting this together and featuring this quote as a starting off point for our conversation, one thing that also resonated with me was that the result of these two things is forward motion, right? Because I work with so many, whether they're new attorneys or they're 5 years into starting their practice, the focus is, of course, on success. It's on, financial success and success for your clients. And sometimes that comes at the expense of joy, which is a little bit, I think, of what we're going to be talking about today with the balance. But actually a focus on that can help propel you forward and be a foundation for your success. So, Helen, how did you get interested in wellness? You've had an interesting professional journey, and so maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I think, I guess we start with the definition of wellness. What is wellness? Is it
Mhm.
confidence? Is it happiness? Is it joy? Is it wealth? Is it having time to yourself and to your family? I think it's different for everybody. But overall, for me, wellness is basically to have the best mindset and to be the best version of myself, physically, mentally, socially, professionally, so that I can provide the best service to my clients. I did not become an attorney at a young age. I went to business school first, but I grew up on a farm. So I think the life on a farm is the perfect way to learn how to be well and what that wellness means for us. If you're not well that way, you're not going to be able to go to the fields and work the corn or the vegetables or the orchards. If you're not well that day, you may not be able to function so that you can take care of the animals on the farm or go to the farmer's market or sell the produce or the products that you have grown on your farm. And as a foundation, I just grew up with that understanding that taking care of ourselves, it's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
The entire farm depends on it. And when
Mm-hmm.
you grow up like that, whether you're a businesswoman or man or you're an attorney, growing up with the idea that I have to take care of myself to be able to do anything has been such a blessing. And because I come from such a background, when I came to the US, which is my American dream, by the way, I am very grateful to be here. I am very proud to be an American citizen. I began to observe the cultural differences and what is it that we expect from this life on a very philosophical level. And I began to notice that wellness or success was defined very differently than what I grew up with. For example, we grew up poor, but I didn't know we were poor until I joined the society because we had everything we needed and more. We had the best milk and cream and butter and cheese, best vegetables and fruit, the longest summers and the most
Mm-hmm.
beautiful winters. So I think the society, the schools, the media, all of it is designed to tell us what success means.
Mm-hmm.
And when you grow up on your own, kind of away from everything that tells you what you should think,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then you don't really get to look deep down and define those things for yourself. You know, on TV, wealth looks different. On the shows, success is defined in a way that is fake, in my opinion. And then you look around and see a lot of people who advocate for these things and they call it success, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
even realize that it's not their definition of success. And that
Mm-hmm.
really affects the way that they think and they live their lives. And therefore, they don't even get to define their idea of wellness. And that's just my take.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think that actually transitions really nicely into what I wanted to ask you about next because, and I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me right now, but for those of you joining us, if you are attorneys, I know that thankfully it is a conversation that's starting to happen more and more. But you know, attorney mental health, suicide rates that are extremely high for this profession, and it feels like that is a natural segue from what you were talking about, Helen.
Absolutely. The statistics are definitely gray, but I feel more comfortable talking about my own state.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, since the beginning of the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
or shortly before then, in just a few months, we lost five brilliant attorneys to
Mm-hmm.
suicide. Five in one state in
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of months. And it's just insane. And I don't know these people, so I do not want to assume anything as to
Mm-hmm.
their purpose that led to those decisions or their circumstances, their ideas, or their struggles. Even if I know, I think that would be just a part of their reality, part of their truth. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel comfortable going into their reasoning. But what I see is that from a very young age, we are told by our parents, our schools, our neighborhoods, our state, our society, what success should be like. And none of that includes wellness.
Mm-hmm.
It says if you're an attorney, you are driving a Tesla or a Ferrari. If you're a successful
Yeah.
attorney, you should be driving a luxury car, which starts
Mm-hmm.
at least at $60,000, at least. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then you should be living in a home or a place such as this, which costs
Mm-hmm.
at least millions of dollars in any
Mm-hmm.
state. You should have a yacht. You should have a boat. You should have a plane or a jet. And when you get there, because it's not connected to you, to your purpose and knowing
Mm-hmm.
who you are, it's a huge disappointment to so
Mm-hmm.
many people. And when you look at the attorneys that we lost, almost all of them are what we considered healthy in the
Mm-hmm.
society and wealthy, and they're making jokes and they're driving Mercedes or BMWs.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, all those toys that we are taught
Mm-hmm.
that means success, I think those are distractions. Not that they're bad. I think if we want something, we should get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't be a distraction to get to know ourselves. Who am I? What is my
Mm-hmm.
purpose? And if I want to be an attorney, what is that purpose in relation to my clients? And what is my
Mm-hmm.
relationship is like with my clients? So without making it too long, I think the whole picture of the legal profession, we really need to stop and ask, do I even know myself? Why am I doing
Mm-hmm.
this? And
Mm-hmm.
how can I do this in a way that has a stamp of me and not the society?
I love that perspective, Helen, and it makes me think. I know that you are an entrepreneur. In addition to being an attorney and everything else that you do, you're also a consultant and advisor, and you help law firms kind of achieve their version of success. And hearing you talk, I imagine this is a conversation that you probably have with people. Is that is that right?
Absolutely. At the same time, it's not an easy conversation to have with
Mm-hmm.
people, because if you are not ready to understand the question, who are you? If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have an answer to that, typically people stick to the comfortable answers. They
Mm-hmm.
want to keep walking on the path that they have been. They feel comfortable. It's their comfort zone, even if it's not happy, even if it's
Mm-hmm.
not healthy, even if it's not successful. So I think the question of how can I put myself in the path of wellness has to begin with that individual. But hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
some of the questions that we ask helps with that. But the way that we do it objectively, without trying to push people to see who really they are, who is that person in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
is our main idea is that wellness is not a silo.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot be working ourselves to death, engage in conversations that are not serving our purpose, be stressed out all the time. 85%, I just read the statistics, 85% of people in the US say they do not love their job. 85.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And the question with our program begins with, well, are you well enough to do your job? Are you the best
Mm-hmm.
version of yourself? And some questions can be, are you satisfied with
Mm-hmm.
yourself? Are you satisfied with your knowledge? And
Mm-hmm.
are you satisfied, for example, with your personal life? Are you
Mm-hmm.
satisfied with your physical appearance, whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be? Because before we can get to the point where we're happy with ourselves, the service that we provide is not going to be the top notch
Mm-hmm.
service that our clients deserve. So wellness is not a silo. That's our
Mm-hmm.
motto. So
Mm-hmm.
it begins from the very, very beginning. And what is that? It's the marketing plan, right? Do we
Mm-hmm.
have a marketing plan that reflects who you are, your
Mm-hmm.
profession, your niche, and also your wellness plan too? Our marketing plan's number one item on there is a wellness plan. And it goes into details. So if you're building a life that you love, you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
successful, and you're going to define success according to what you want, not what the society wants from you.
And from a marketing perspective, you'll bring so much authenticity to the conversations. And authenticity is what clients really seek out when they're trying to connect. I mean, in some of these conversations, one of my last ones I had a couple weeks ago, someone said, yeah, people work with people they like.
Yep.
Right? Your clients want to like you. Your clients want to feel like they can connect with you on a human level. And I think a lot of my clients that I work with would say, their purpose is to help their client, right? But are you connecting with that client? Can you connect with them better by being an even more authentic or healthier version of yourself? It's a very interesting way to look at things.
Absolutely. And that's even looking from an optimistic standpoint, because typically
Mm-hmm.
what we see at the discovery call is desperation. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
answering the call that comes in, just a lead, for example, if it's a personal injury call, someone is calling in,
Mm-hmm.
you or someone who works with you answers the phone, the desperation speaks on its own
Yeah.
in terms of energy, and in the form of just, oh, we're going to do anything you want, just sign up with us. And that's a pressure people don't like. But if they're
Yeah.
speaking with someone that they really like on the phone, and it's not just the attorney or the managing partners who need to have this, our entire
Mm-hmm.
team, the receptionist, the secretary,
Mm-hmm.
whoever is helping us at the firm, those team members are the most important walking ambassadors of our purpose. If they
Yeah.
don't know what our purpose is, what we stand for as a firm, if they're sitting there just stewing because someone mistreated them, or they're not happy at
Mm-hmm.
work, they're not happy with their pay, whatever it may be, the desperation has a different tone
Mm-hmm.
of energy that the clients pick up without even knowing. So
They
you're absolutely
absolutely do.
right.
Mhm. Yeah, they absolutely do, and I actually think, we've talked about this. I actually want to jump kind of ahead to this, because when you're talking about the desperation and talking about the legal assistant, one thing that to share with our audience, you and I met at ABA Tech Show, which is obviously one of the biggest legal technology conferences out there. If you haven't been, it's such a great show. So many amazing people participate and so many important conversations. And although a lot of them have foundations in technology, it gets into a lot of these conversations like what we're having today. And I know that technology, I mean, certainly here at CASEpeer, we're really passionate about making it easy for people to go on vacation or for you to unplug. And it's okay if you have to check on your client on your phone, but as long as you have a cell signal, and if you don't for a couple hours because you're out hiking, which we'll get to, but then you are able to pick up on your calls and your emails and follow up and get status updates from your team, it all of a sudden opens up a freedom that business owners or your staff didn't have before.
Absolutely, absolutely. In terms of technology, and it does remind me how we met. Basically, my
Mm-hmm.
motto is surround yourself with good people. And
Mm-hmm.
Gabriela, you are definitely one of those people who brings positive, good, building energy into my life every time we have a conversation. And I
Mm-hmm.
seek these connections out. At the
Mm-hmm.
technology tech show where we met, I was, yes, looking around to see what's new with the technology and the new tools that we can use as attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always looking for people like you who are asking good questions, who are making genuine connections, and
Mm-hmm.
basically, regardless of the profession, who are bringing new ideas
Mm-hmm.
to think about, to consider, because it's not always one right answer. But in terms
Mm-hmm.
of technology, I think technology can do so much, but it's a tool at the end of the day. I
Mm-hmm.
love CASEpeer, your case management software. It's an incredible tool. But again, at the end of the day, it's a tool. How are you
Mm-hmm.
going to use it? Do you have
Mm-hmm.
systems at your law firm to utilize it to the
Mm-hmm.
best of your ability, so that you're using it to provide value to your clients, to your
Yeah.
law firm, and to your staff? I think that's
Mm-hmm.
where it starts with technology.
Well, and it's about technology can buy you time to do some of these things that can help you be better at what you do, right? Technology is not a panacea. It's a really important component of building a successful practice, a successful and healthy life. But as some of us technology addicts might, I fess up, like I live and die by my cell phone. I'm on it way too much, reading my emails when I probably should, maybe take a hike in the woods. So it can be a facilitator, but it's also a good piece of conversation that it's a crutch at times as well, depending on how you're harnessing it.
Absolutely. I think we struggle with that. We all struggle with
Mm-hmm.
that because our need for entertainment is endless. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of focusing on that's going to serve our purpose, sometimes it remains in our comfort zone to go back and check our email or
Mm-hmm.
social media and, check in with friends. It's just warmer and fuzzier and more
Yeah.
comfortable. And it just goes back to having intentional, purposeful wellness plan, because once you make that plan, are you
Mm-hmm.
staying with it, right? Are you
Yeah.
keeping the promises to yourself? I think that's the key.
Yeah. So that makes me want to bring this back because when you're working with clients, what are some of the biggest challenges? And we don't have to just focus on lawyers. I know we have plenty of legal staff that follow these webinars. So, what are the biggest challenges maybe that people at law firms or busy people in general that you might be working with? What do they face when they're having that conversation? They come to you, they know that they've identified this need or this want, but how what are the biggest things that prevent them from making that switch?
I think if a person, whether attorney or staff or anybody else, is already asking the question, am I really doing well? Is this my
Mhm,
definition of success? Is this my definition of being healthy and well? I think they're on the right path already. I think the
mhm,
problem is those people who are not asking these questions and assuming that they know the answer, but the answer is making them miserable. Um,
mhm,
and of course, the marketing plans that we create, they're designed to make us more money. They're designed to make
mhm,
us more organized and systemic,
mhm,
and efficient, so that we provide services to our clients. In today's world, our clients want faster, better, cheaper
mhm.
services. That's the
Yeah.
competitive world. And when it comes to the biggest challenge, I think if a person is asking the right questions, they have gone over the biggest challenge, and then
Mhm,
comes in planning and organization. And that's where technology again comes back in. If you are dedicated and
mhm,
definitely decisive about being on the right path to your wellness, and
mhm,
wellness includes success, it includes organization. I think technology can provide the tools for us to be more organized. Our case management
mhm,
system, our calendars, our reminders, our systems, or things like Monday.com, where we can be more organized with it.
mhm,
So I think if the mindset is in the right place, then it's easier
mhm.
to work with people. But if someone,
It's the first step already, just asking those right questions.
right,
Yeah. When you're talking about technology too, the one thing that I often think about is the peace of mind, right? You mentioned reminders and things like that. Just knowing that you're not going to miss a statute, right? Because something's telling you about a statute, or knowing that you're reaching out to each and every one of your clients on a regular basis, that not anything is going to slip through the cracks. Those are elements that I know keep attorneys and staff up awake at night, or keeps them working into the wee hours. And those are the kinds of things that really technology like CASEpeer or anything else that you might be utilizing to power your firm and organize your firm as a backbone can really help with.
you said it perfectly.
Mhm,
Another aspect to it is the relationships that surround all of this. For
mhm,
example, there are so many case management systems out there, right? If
mhm,
you're living a holistic lifestyle, you also care where it comes from. For example,
mhm,
my friendship and partnership with you, your support to me, and whatever I can do for you is also a surrounding issue. So if
mhm,
I'm using a product, for example, if I were using CasePeer and if I didn't even know the team, I didn't know all the good things that it could add
mhm,
to my life, I didn't seek them out, it would be such a half success, right?
mhm,
Yes, I would be using the tool, but I wouldn't even be aware of the opportunities that comes out of this relationship. So that's why I love
mhm,
CasePeer, because it's not just a tool. Yes, I love
mhm,
texting my clients from the system itself. I love being organized because it brings
mhm,
this system into my life. But I also love our conversations and how you
mhm,
support lawyer wellness, and how
mhm,
as a company you're always growing and open to new ideas. That's also
mhm.
very important. So surround yourself with good people.
Yeah. That's very true, and I would say too that anyone that's interacted with our client success team would say the same. Like, we always our motto here at CASEpeer is that your success is really our success, and we're far more than just technology. We want to help you be better at what you do or more balanced. We want your clients to be happier, and we have a lot of ideas on how to make that happen. So if any of you joining us are CASEpeer clients and you haven't reached out to our success team recently, give them a call and just check in, say hi. If you have any questions, we're always happy to help. That's a big part of it. Thank you, Helen.
Absolutely.
So that's a perfect segue to hiking lawyers. I've made a couple remarks about being in the woods, and I just want to say first off that Helen's going to tell us a little bit more about hiking lawyers, but at CASEpeer is a proud supporter of the community. I love the mission and the vision behind it. So tell us a little bit more about it, Helen.
Absolutely. So Hiking Lawyers was basically a group I created when I was sitting in law school, miserable with the exams, because I was thinking about hiking. And I was like, no, I didn't expect it to become so popular. And I created it on Facebook, and years went by before anybody took it seriously. And they were like, Hiking Lawyers, what? So it took a while for me to keep talking about why it's important to be outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, hiking lawyers, think outside. Even if you have to think, have a phone call, even if you have just 20 minutes during the day, being outside, having some sunshine, seeing some nature out there. And I don't even care what it is. Maybe it's just 2 trees on your street because you're working in a, business place where there are only office buildings, but you're seeing the changing colors, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, more and more people joined, and today we're close to 2,000 members. And I'm happy to say that our most consistent and most supportive sponsor has been CASEpeer. It's much more than sponsor. It's a partnership, because I know how much you care about lawyer wellness. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been something that I've been really impressed with the community and how supportive it is, and how there's no shame, there's no it's sort of everyone's welcome, even if you hike once a year, although wellness is not a silo, but if you do, you're still welcome. But it's also a community that's has a little bit of a different spin. I mean, there's professional questions in there, there's networking, there's, hey, I have a referral. So there's a lot more things going on, but then fundamentally it's a source of inspiration. And every time I talk to Helen, I'm always like, oh, I saw that beautiful hike you were on. I mean, so honestly, just seeing that show up in my feed makes my day a little bit brighter as well, which I'm sure it serves that purpose for a lot of people.
I hope so. That's definitely my purpose, to remind people how simple it can be. If you're seeking wellness, you're going to find it. And of course, it has a lot to do with mindset. There are some people who always look at something and they find a problem. Well, I don't have a recipe for them, right? If you're looking for wellness, if you're looking for joy, you will find it. And the easiest way to find it is to just go outside. I don't care if you're kayaking, biking, hiking, and I don't even care if you're a lawyer. In fact, our group is called Hiking Lawyers and Friends. That means we have teachers and some engineers and people who hang out with us for some weird reason.
I mean, I'm one of those crazy non-attorneys that just loves attorneys, Helen. So, I mean, I relate. Helen, I love that. So you've talked a lot about why wellness is important to you, of course. But I'd love to know if you have kind of any, is there anything that we haven't touched on when it comes to wellness, and why you're so passionate about it, and not just for yourself, but passionate about sharing it with others?
Oh, there is so much when it comes to wellness. I wish that we were talking about wellness in terms of a lifestyle,
Yeah.
designing a life that you love, designing a life that includes your profession. So when we say work-life balance, it kind of, yes, it's good that we're looking for ideas, but it's not really focused on finding solutions because it considers those two separate things. If I go to work, if I go to my office, I'm a solo. I do immigration and personal injury law, and we have a lot of challenges. I'm not going to say it's an easy life, but I find joy in everything that I do, and we need to find life plans. That's why I call my marketing plans the life plans, because it includes your wellness day to day. Are you happy with your physical appearance? If you're not happy, are you drinking enough water? Did you know that most migraines are misdiagnosed and it comes from dehydration because we're drinking the wrong things? Did you know that your mood is directly affected by your physical health, and that your mood has a lot to do with your success in your relationships and communications and your marketing and selling and representing your clients? So it's not a silo. It's not a retreat. It's not 1 week out of a year. It's every single day. We need to have a plan. Plans are useless, but we have to have plans to reach our goals because we change over time. In time, they change. But yeah, wellness is not a silo, and it needs to be
Yeah.
incorporated into your life.
When 1 week in Hawaii doesn't take away a whole year's of stress and and all of that. And I will say, I mean, I think that's why I find our conversation so refreshing, because it's just not as much as I think that people want to talk about. They're talking about maybe mental health and some of the problems, and everyone is maybe starting to recognize them and talk about them. You're someone that's just turning it on its head and addressing it in a way that I don't think anyone is tackling it as directly as you are. And it's really why I wanted to give you an opportunity to share that here with our audience today. Someone that's just not just saying, hey, there's this problem and here's how we're going to set up your marketing plan and just focus on marketing and just focus on this, but really addressing things as that holistic approach, as you said, and creating even, space to have connections, whether personally, professionally, networking, getting outside, whatever that may be, or all of the above, but finding a balance. And ultimately, that is really that true success. And even if you're defining success as financial success, all of those things will get you there as well. I think that's a really important component.
Absolutely. I heard another quote recently. Someone said, we're all born unique, and we need to find out who we are to be able to find that definition of success. But he said, we're all born unique, but we die copies because we learn from each other what success should look like. No, I'm not learning it from anybody else because it's my own definition, and I find it out in the woods every time.
Well, I will say no one is going to accuse Helen here of being the same as anybody else. And I think that's why it's just so refreshing every time we connect and chat. So let's do this. Where can people find you? How can they connect with you? What's the best way to find hiking lawyers? I want to make sure that that anyone who wants to connect with you further, or even get you on the phone and get to know you a little better, how can they do that?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I truly appreciate it. If someone can basically spell my last name, I'm all over the internet. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can also send me an email at helen@helenbukulmez.com. And if you actually go to my Facebook page and find me online, you'll also find my phone numbers. So easily accessible because I love people. So I hope to connect with many of you, but I highly recommend anyone watching to check out CASEpeer and basically have a conversation with Gabriela or someone from the team. You will see what I'm talking about. They are part of my wellness plan for sure.
And same thing, anyone can reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or anything else. I'm always very happy to connect and talk. And Lucas here from our team's reminding us too that all of Helen's social profiles are on that event page that you use to register. So if you're rewatching this later, just head over to that page and you'll be able to navigate it there. But Helen, thank you so much for joining me today. Such a pleasure. Everyone, thank you for being here as well. keep an eye out for future conversations that we're having, as well as our expert series. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Helen.
Thank you. Have a great day.